Teamfight positioning. For me, this is the biggest difference between a 2k MMR support and a 5k MMR support is that the lower ranked support during team fights will not be patient enough, want to use their spells on the enemy too much, run in, get out of position, and just instantly die. When thinking about how to describe this, I initially thought it would be quite simple because your positioning in team fights, a lot of it is just based on intuition and you don't think about it, you just react. However, when trying to describe it, it's a very complicated thing dependent on many factors and something that's kind of hard unless you just play thousands of games of Dota. So to start with, you can imagine that in every fight you have to think as if there's a sort of imaginary line or zone where crossing that line will lead to you dying and so not being able to have any further impact on the fight. The difficult part is that as enemy heroes use their spells and abilities, people with blink daggers blink in, this danger zone can shift towards you or away from you. So you have to be always paying attention to what spells, abilities and items have been used and either retreating or advancing accordingly. The most important point is that you don't need to rush in and use your spells. You can play as if you are like a buffer for your cores. If your cores get low health or realize they need to retreat, they can retreat towards you and you can punish any enemies who try and chase them and overextend away from their team. Visually, I've tried my best to do a simple visual demonstration. This is very simplified and most team fights are far more chaotic and far more complicated than this, but it gives the rough idea as to where a lot of the problems with people's team fight positioning comes from. So if we imagine that the green blobs are Radiant players, the red blobs are Dire players, maybe these are Dire cores on the front line, these are Radiant cores on Radiant's front line, and the supports are starting the fight in a perfectly fine place in the back. Now, as the fight breaks out, we need to immediately draw where the danger zones are for each team's support. Now, imagine this is a Blink Tidehunter in the back here. This is a Blink Centaur. They can both blink in and immediately stun. We need to think, where could those heroes get to with their abilities without us being able to get out of the way. Now, if they can blink this far, it means that anywhere past this line is danger zone for a Radiant hero. And as a position 5, if you cross this line and get into Blink's stomp range for Centaur, you are just going to die instantly. So most people are smart enough to not to start the fight behind that line, but the problem occurs when we imagine that our two Radiant cores, they both go on this hero here. Maybe this is an important hero to kill and they've both jumped on him. Now the initial reaction as a position 5 is that you want to help them kill this guy. But for heroes like Lion, Hex is only 500 range. for heroes like Crystal Maiden, Frostbite is low range. A lot of these supports do not have long range spells. They need to get in fairly close to be able to use them. But if we were to run in to use our spell and try and kill this hero, this immediately puts us into the danger zone. And when Centaur blinks in, his AoE stun can not only catch the cause, it can catch us as well. And we can literally lose the fight right here. So rather than running in because we want to kill this guy, we say, right, we are the buffer for our cause to retreat to. And what happens is our cores go on this guy. Centaur blinks in to save them. He doesn't blink on us because we've stayed back. We've held our ground. And now that Centaur has blinked in, we can just advance a little bit and we are in range to use our spells on Centaur and we can maybe burst him down. And not only have we saved ourselves, we've helped kill off this hero, but we're also alive. So after using our spells, we can pull back again, we can reassess the situation, and then we possibly get to use our spells for a second round later in the fight for any more enemies who try and overextend and run towards us. So you essentially play this backline presence where you are not so much focused on killing enemy heroes as protecting your cause in team fights. Now, if this was a hero farming on his own, completely alone, nowhere near his team, then running in to get another spell off and kill him before his team can react is perfectly fine. But it's when you know that his team is around him and can counter-initiate, you cannot just run in with the rest of your team. You have to play defensively. And as I've already said, it becomes a lot more complicated when you think that maybe these guys you have to think about all these heroes as well and what they can do. And then you have heroes like Storm Spirit who, because they can zip nearly infinitely far, it's almost like everywhere is a danger zone. You often face some heroes like that, like Storm Spirit, Slark, Clinks, who often start the fights from the back lines. And that means that everywhere is a danger zone except in the trees. You basically have to be out of vision when the fight starts and during the fight. Otherwise, you'll instantly die. Once you have, if you have a Force Staff or Glimmer Cape, it often means your safety area, you have a larger safety area and the danger zone is smaller to you, because if they go on you, if you know you can Glimmer Cape or Force Staff, that can be enough to save you. But the main problem with people's teamfight positioning tends to be that they either greatly underestimate where the danger zone is and do not realize they're in it, or they initially estimate it fine, but then they get baited into going into the danger zone to try and kill an enemy or use their spells on him and get punished for it.